I am so tired of hearing, oh my gosh, why does the South always vote red? Oh my gosh, just give up on them. They're always gonna vote for the same people. Oh my gosh. Listen, there's a reason why the political map looks the way it does in the South. And it did not happen by accident. What it was is the Southern strategy, and it's the name for a deliberate shift in political strategy starting in the 60s and 70s, courting white Southern voters who were breaking away from the Democratic Party. Now, mind you, this is after the civil rights legislation of that era, and largely along racial lines without saying that part out loud. States' rights, law and order, busing. Words that let a political message land on racial anxiety without ever actually naming race directly. Now, here's the question that often comes up the most. If these states have such large and in some cases growing Black and racially diverse populations, why do they keep voting the way that they do statewide? And the honest answer isn't just people's minds haven't changed. It's a handful of structural factors stacked on top of each other, and each is worth naming specifically. The first being gerrymandering. District lines can be drawn to split concentrated Black or Democratic-leaning populations across several districts, spreading them just thin enough that they never form a majority anywhere, or to pack them tightly into one or two districts, containing their influence to as few seats as possible. Now, either way you slice it, the same number of people end up with less actual representation than the numbers would suggest. Quick power check. Who actually draws these lines? In most states, it's the state legislature, the same state house and state senate seats we talked about last week. A handful of states use independent or bipartisan redistricting committees instead, but even then, who sits on that commission is usually decided by the legislature or the governor, which means that this entire mechanism traces right back to the exact down-ballot races most people skip on their own ballot. Then there's what we talked about earlier, voter roll purges. Southern states have some of the most aggressive purge practices in the country, and the people removed are disproportionately Black and low-income voters, often for reasons as thin as skipping a few election cycles. Felony disenfranchisement is another piece to this puzzle. Some Southern states permanently or long-term bar people with felony convictions from voting, even after they've paid their debt to society. Now, given the well-documented racial disparities in who gets arrested, charged, and convicted in the first place, that policy doesn't land evenly. It disproportionately removes a share of Black voters from the electorate before a single ballot can get cast. And then there's just plain access, stricter voter ID requirements, fewer polling locations, and hours concentrated in Black majority counties, which means longer lines and more people who give up or can't make it work with their job. None of these factors on their own flips a state, but stacked together over decades, they compound. And the compounding is a large part of why the maps look the way they do, even in places where the population itself tells a different story. This is exactly why midterm elections matter. And this is exactly why down-ballot races and registration checks that we've been talking about aren't small things. They're the terrain that this entire fight is actually happening on. Now, if you found this little history lesson helpful, then like and follow for more, and subscribe to the Black and Brief YouTube page, link in my bio.